I just traveled from Victoria to Tofino and back within 48 hours. I learned so much about the island from this trip, and today I'm going to share my journey with you so that when you decide to come to the island, you'll have a much better idea on where to go and what to see. In this video, we're going to see what's worth stopping for during that 4-hour trip. There's a few parts that you just can't afford to miss. When I was planning the itinerary for the trip across the island, I mainly used Reddit, as there are a ton of opinions on there from a local's point of view on what to see and what to skip. Enough talk, let's get on the road. We're gonna kick things off in Victoria at the Hertz rental facility. I had booked like a Prius or something, but when me and my friend walked into the rental yard, there was a beautiful white Dodge Charger sitting there. We looked at each other, asked the guy how much extra it was. He said $40. Done deal, buddy. Vamos. We had exactly 48 hours to explore the island, and at this point, we were already starting late. We got on the road around 2 p.m., which is a cardinal sin for day trips. But that's just how it worked out, unfortunately. So the original plan was to make Cathedral Grove the final stop and see where we're at and go from there. It's almost a 3-hour drive in total, and with stops, obviously, it could get really late. During the trip, there's quite a few places designated for cars to specifically pull over and enjoy a view. For us, this was a huge factor because we love a good-ass view. There was this little roadside stop shortly after Malahat, somewhere along Mill Bay Road, if I remember correctly. It was our first taste of that beautiful BC scenery. A preview of what was to come. It just gets better and better the more north that you go. And then it was another 30 minutes to our first major stop of the trip, the town of Duncan, BC. So Duncan, why did we stop here? Well, Duncan is known as the city of totems with over 80 totem poles scattered across the city. Aside from that, it has some historical buildings, cute little shops, art galleries, and a downright beautiful little small town vibe. It feels different from every other place we went to on the island. Can't really explain it. When we arrived, there was a little local concert going on. The sun was out. We grabbed some food, some cheesecake, and had a great time in the town. This is not on the top of most people's lists, but I'd really recommend you guys stop here for at least a coffee or something.
Bro, I see the shots, I'm telling you.
So back on the road, the next stop we're looking at is the legendary Nanaimo. Well, it's legendary for a certain something. Yes, that's right, the Nanaimo bars. They originated right here in Nanaimo, BC. Nanaimo.
I like that he told me that they're like
We had originally just wanted to grab a quick coffee and a few Nanaimo bars, but this cafe was a sit down. They did have their own little Nanaimo style cheesecake that we went for. So we walked around in the downtown area for a bit and managed to find a bakery called Red's Bakery.
Oh, the Nanaimo.
The Nanaimo. We got Red's Bakery here with the OG Nanaimo bars. They had all different types of Nanaimo bars. We grabbed a peanut butter bar and, of course, an original. This was my first time ever having one. I actually loved it. Good stuff. Gotta have a Nanaimo bar in Nanaimo. There's a few other things you can do in Nanaimo that we just simply didn't have the time for. But the Redditors recommend stopping by Newcastle Island if you get the chance. So by the time we finished up in Nanaimo, it was like 6:45 in the evening. We were losing daylight by the minute, but luckily our next stop was just under an hour away. And that stop is the main event of the day, Cathedral Grove. This is where things start to get completely wild.
No, keep going. We're gonna get there. We're gonna like just stay here for a bit. This is something in itself. That's why this is here. Fucking ridiculous, man.
Entering into the Cathedral Grove area, you pass by Cameron Lake, and this is where all those BC pictures you've seen on Instagram start to smack you right in the face. The true beauty begins right here. we were just losing it. I had never seen anything like this ever. I'd never really experienced that West Coast nature, and it is something special. Continuing on into the actual site of Cathedral Grove, we parked up and started exploring. So what is Cathedral Grove exactly? It's what they call an old growth forest, featuring massive Douglas, fir, and red cedar trees, some of these being almost 1,000 years old.
Ever seen a tree like that? Holy shit, dude.
The trees here can reach up to 250 feet high and 29 feet wide. It's a part of McMillan Provincial Park, which was established in 1947 to protect this ancient ecosystem. So this was just one side of the grove. We headed across the street to check out the other half, which featured the biggest trees in the forest.
We're here, and the largest tree is right here.
Like, look at that stump. Jesus, here, let me...
When we were walking, I spotted something slowly crawling across the trail. It was a giant black forest slug, just slugging it out in the grove. This guy is what I believe to be known as a black Aryan, aka an Aryan-ater. Not sure if I'm pronouncing these correctly, but these guys have a total top speed of 4.5 centimeters a minute. Speedy Gonzales over here is considered an invasive species in BC, as they are originally native to Europe. Continuing on in the forest, there's plenty of history and informative signs found throughout the area. So finishing there, we really just wanted to get down to the water and take in some of those beautiful valleys. Not exactly sure where to go. I checked the map and saw a picnic site a couple minutes down the road. We gave it a shot, and it worked out. The sun was coming down, and we were treated to some legendary moments here in BC. As I said, guys, you really gotta come and check it out for yourself. A computer screen will never do this justice.
You see it in the pictures, but when you come and actually get here, it's a totally different... You really have to get here. You know, there's the smells, there's the sounds that you can't really fully experience on your computer screen, obviously. This one definitely made the trip 100% worth it, coming out here. I think Victoria is just such a small part of it. If we wouldn't have come here, oh my God, I think I'd have a completely different opinion. And I kind of can understand the BC vibe fully out here.
There were two other guys on the other side of the bush, and as they were leaving, we said hello and got talking. They turned out to be locals here, and he convinced us that since we made it this far, we may as well stay the night in Port Alberni and then head out to Tofino the next day. Well, he didn't say Tofino, he recommended a place called Pechena Campground, which is an hour and a half from Port Alberni. I got to thinking, hey, Tofino is only an extra 15 minutes of driving in comparison, so why not just say f it and see one of the biggest attractions in BC. We had a choice of going to Vancouver or...
We said Vancouver.
Yeah, we said Vancouver because we prefer some nature. So now we're gonna attempt to just show up in Port Alberni and just book a hotel. Super last minute.
Get something to eat in time. What's it called? Chicken and grill?
Granny's Chicken and Grill. I don't know.
We got a date with Granny.
We got a date with Granny's. We figured that we can make the drive to Tofino a lot easier from Port Alberni. It's like...
We were like looking on our phone for so long I didn't know it was that close.
I think it's like 2 hours. Tofino is like 2 hours from Port Alberni, I think.
Okay, look up Red Rock Casino.
Hold on. So we pulled up to Port Alberni to a hotel called the Hospitality Inn. We grabbed a room for like $200, put our stuff away, and looked for some food in the town. Well, I'll tell you one thing. There's not much going on in Port Alberni after 8 o'clock. There was one place open called Granny's. With a name like that, how can we not? Granny's Chicken and Grill.
Only place to go in Port Alberni is Granny's after 11 p.m. You gotta reach Granny's, bro.
Please don't hate me for this, Port Alberni, but it did not create a lasting impression on this particular day. I'll leave it at that. So we woke up early the next day and made the almost 2-hour drive to the legendary town of Tofino. On the way there, my buddy saw a waterfall out of the corner of his eye and begged me to turn around, so I did, and we were in for a real treat. Where else in the world can you hop out of your car and see something like this? Can I ask you guys to please smash that like button for our beautiful, one-of-a-kind country? Anyways, after that, we eventually made it to Tofino. Tofino is a very unique place. On the way in, you can't really see much. You're surrounded by trees, and there's tiny little roads that lead into private resorts and hotels. But keep driving, and eventually the downtown area appears. Let's take a look at the beautiful little town of Tofino. There's this little viewpoint in the town that gives you a nice panorama of the water and some of the islands. There's a lot of history here in Tofino. It's got indigenous roots and traditions dating back thousands of years. While the early European exploration started in the late 18th century, it was a small fishing town and logging community for a long time, and the construction of the Pacific Railway and the opening of Tofino Dock facilitated the growth of the town. It transitioned to a tourism-based economy in the latter half of the 20th century, attracting visitors seeking outdoor recreation and ecotourism.
Pickleball and mountains.
Yeah. I will say one thing, the Tofino gift shops are fire. We spent an exuberant amount of time looking at fridge magnets. So let's move on to the main attraction of Tofino, the beaches. There are quite a few beaches in Tofino, as we can see here on the map. The main ones being Chesterman Beach, Cox Bay Beach, Long Beach, and Mackenzie Beach. We chose Mackenzie Beach because it was pretty close to the town, but unfortunately, it was closed off to tourists. A private resort-only beach. That's one of my gripes with Tofino. It feels very prestigious, bougie, that type of vibe. It feels very welcoming to the upper class, but very get off my lawn otherwise. So since we got told to get off Mackenzie's lawn, we proceeded to the next best thing, Chesterman Beach. Entering to a paradise of sand, sun, and surf, and the surf was definitely up today. Chesterman Beach lived up to the hype. It had that Jurassic Park cinematic feel, something to do with the combination of fine golden sand stretched across a rugged coastline surrounded by old growth forests. There's dramatic rock formations and cliffs, giving it a raw, untouched vibe. The sand was hard enough to bike on, making it very easy to maneuver. But the water was ice cold, absolutely freezing. I got the chills when I put my feet in the water. Those surfers have some balls. And if you're not careful in Tofino, you might get your lunch stolen.
Trying to save her lunch, dude.
It was at this point that we completely ran out of time. We had to be back to say goodbye to another friend in Victoria by around 9 p.m. I had planned to stop at the Malahat Skywalk. It's an elevated walkway that provides a panoramic view of the Saanich Peninsula. There's always next time. So we made the 4-hour drive back to Victoria through the twisty roads with minimal stops. And then we watched the original Mortal Kombat.
Crush him in one blow.
All right, let's dance.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If I missed anything on this journey, please let me know in the comments so other people can adjust their trip accordingly. And that's going to conclude my series on Vancouver Island. So I'm currently packing my bags as I'm recording this and heading to the opposite side of Canada this weekend. I'm going to Newfoundland. So if there's any Newfoundland videos out, I'll leave them up on the screen right now. Let's check out the east coast of Canada together. Have a great day, book that flight, and I'll see you soon.